Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Jazz Like Sugar in the Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "My husband is best friends with his ex-wife. My husband and I have been married for 8 years, together for 14, and we have a 4-year-old daughter who is our whole life. He was married before to Eliza, his best friend. They married at 18 and lasted 2 years before divorcing. They remained best friends, and when we started dating, Eliza, my husband's other best friend Jack, and my husband formed a tight-knit group. Eliza was one of the bros, while I was always the girlfriend and later the wife, feeling like an outsider. His 2 friends are single, so our house became a place for them to crash. Even after we moved in together, they would show up unannounced and do their own thing while I prepared snacks and full meals. For the first year, I tried my best to integrate into their clique, but it never worked out. It was always awkward, and I felt like I was inserting myself where I didn't belong, so I stopped trying and relegated myself to being a great host while letting them do their own thing. I didn't notice it at first, but over the years, resentment built up. I feel like a 1950s housewife serving drinks and lighting cigarettes for men. My husband is amazing on his own, and I love him. He has been a great partner and my best friend during these 14 years. The problem is that I'm not his best friend. Eliza is. Every single thing that happens in our lives has to be discussed and analyzed with Eliza. Early in our relationship, I got pregnant. I took the test late one night and we were both really scared. Despite this, he was so reassuring, holding me all night and telling me he was ready to do whatever I wanted to do. I said I needed to think about it. The next day, we went to our classes and agreed to have lunch together. When we met, he asked how I was doing and then told me he had the contact information for a doctor who performed abortions. I asked how he found one so quickly when he wasn't sure what to do. His answer, he called Eliza early in the morning and she had a friend. I felt so betrayed because this was something that belonged to me, yet he shared it with someone else. Not just someone else, it's Eliza, come on, he said. In the following days, every time I saw him, he had new information from Eliza and her friend. I was so confused and scared. Eliza convinced my boyfriend that we needed to act quickly because it would be easier. There was so much pressure that I agreed. Long story short, it turned out to be a terrible doctor's office and I almost died there. To this day, I don't know if I should have kept the baby or not, but it's better not to think about it. When my boyfriend proposed, Eliza was fake mad because he didn't tell her first that he was going to propose to me. The only way to placate her was to have her as the best man despite my husband having a male best friend. Every little or major event in our lives turns into, yeah, I'm gonna tell Eliza now. You know how she gets. I was sexually assaulted as a child and told this to my husband. He was the first person I talked to about it. Months later, Eliza and I were alone in our kitchen when she started talking about something she heard in the news about a girl who was raped by a family member and then hugged me. When I started trying for a child and got pregnant, I asked my husband to keep it between us for a while. It was Wednesday. By Sunday, when I saw Eliza, she congratulated me. I started looking for a doctor to help me deal with my depression, again, something I wanted to keep to myself. Eliza was so understanding. When I was pregnant with my daughter, Eliza came full of advice on things I should do. I told her to mind her own business, which really hurt her feelings. I stood my ground and told my husband I wasn't going to raise my kid with Eliza and didn't want to hear any advice from her. This led to a big fight with my husband because I was rude, and Eliza was family, and already considered herself an auntie. This was the only time I had given an ultimatum to my husband. Eliza better keep herself away from my motherhood or I will leave. Now resentment has reached a point where I don't want her near me, my house, or my husband. I feel she is more married to my husband than I am. My whole life feels like I'm living in a best friends to lovers drama. I'm not sure why I'm writing this. Probably because I'm alone in a coffee shop and thinking I want my husband to be my husband and not feel like a lame love interest in someone else's epic love story. In the past, my husband thought I was being childish. Despite loving him, I can't keep being married like this. I don't feel I can trust talking to him again without involving Eliza, and I don't want to hold ultimatums. User Stuck in Nowhere said, "You could live as roommates, Grey Rock him, stop doing wife things like cooking or laundry. I hope you have a job. If you don't, get one. Put the kid in daycare if they aren't in school. Ramp up your career. Go out with friends. Start building your life. take belly dancing classes, try pole dancing, take back your life. User Water Disastrous said, if there's no trust, then there's no marriage. He's overstepped your boundaries so many times and been disrespectful by telling her private things. The best thing you can do is leave and ask for a divorce, and just be really good co-parents. One day, you'll find someone who will appreciate you, love you wholeheartedly, and respect your boundaries and you. Best of luck to you. User Life Bullfrog said, have your husband read Not Just Friends by Shirley Glass. Get your marriage into counseling. You've wasted a lot of time in an imbalanced relationship. He has not invested himself, time, and energy into his primary relationship with you. He's not prioritizing you. He's not protecting your relationship. He hasn't set appropriate boundaries and has invalidated your feelings when you bring it up. The dynamics have to change, and it will be a painful process. Unfortunately, only professional help from a marriage counselor will be able to help him open his eyes to his ingrained behavior pattern, which you have permitted for years. Get yourself into counseling too to help regain your self-worth and learn to advocate for yourself. Update. This isn't a happy update. If anything, welcome to the pity angsty train. After writing my post and reading how most people felt about it, my head was full of doubts and sadness. Your opinions aren't a surprise since most of my friends and family have voiced the same sentiments at some point. I guess I'm too slow and need to be hit harder to understand. A few days after my post, I took a pregnancy test and it was positive. Having a large family is what I have always wanted, and ever since my abortion, I was left with a feeling of having empty arms. Holding my daughter in my arms felt like being whole again, and I knew I needed to grow my arms even more to hold my new baby too. But after the initial happiness, an ugly feeling started to grow in my stomach. I didn't want Eliza in our lives. It felt like taking off my innocent glasses. I was finally able to see her, really see her. Every smile was so damn fake. Every compliment was mean-spirited or kind of a self-compliment. Nice potato salad. It was great. Oh, remember that potato salad I made? It was kind of unbelievable, blah blah blah, or nice outfit. I love how confident you are. I can't leave the house without making sure my outfit is flawless. Her reactions to my first pregnancy, our wedding, our travels, my second pregnancy, and buying a house, everything that should be between my husband and me always included her. It was as if our life was a play she should write and direct. On our first Christmas together, she came over while we were decorating. With all her positive critiques, I ended up sitting in a corner drinking wine while she and my husband decorated. She is always here. And by here, I mean in my life. She has a say in everything, to the point that when my husband voices his opinion, I can tell when those are his words and when they are Eliza's. I'm not saying that since I wrote the last post, everyone turned into ultimate evils, but thinking and rethinking about my life with my husband, I've realized I've always been a passive character. It's as if my husband got himself a pet, and he and Eliza are going to be endgame when they both realize they never stopped loving each other. Some of you, like my sister, will say I'm dormant. I guess I am. I've let this go on for so long that it has become normal. My life isn't bad, my husband hasn't been a bad husband, and Eliza isn't so bad if the bar is that she hasn't tried to kill me yet. I know this is clear to you all, but to me, it has been my life for years, my day-to-day existence. I've learned to look away and make myself small so I don't make others uncomfortable. Maybe because I'm pregnant and hormonal, but I'm tired of this. I love my husband, but I feel he can't love me fully with Eliza whispering in his ear while he runs like a golden retriever to please her. So after all that thinking and rethinking, I sat my husband down and told him we needed to set some strong boundaries because our marriage wasn't working. I didn't feel loved or respected as a wife or even as a person. I explained more or less what I've said here. My husband denied everything and tried to explain himself by saying Eliza was like a sister to him. I pointed out that even siblings have boundaries. It was back and forth with him making me doubt whether maybe I was trying to control who was or wasn't in his life, wanting to monitor his friendships, and he even joked about needing to sneak away for drinks with his buddies. For a moment, I felt maybe I was indeed crazy. But I was firm on my ground. If he wanted to keep this marriage, Eliza needs to be gone from our life. At first, I thought low contact was good, but seeing his reaction, I knew that wasn't going to be enough. Maybe I wouldn't be seeing Eliza, but he certainly would, and I would be antagonized and mocked. Honestly, knowing this made me realize my marriage was over, so I asked important questions and pressed, what were his real feelings? Why did they divorce if they were so hung up on each other? Why not leave me sooner? Why not leave me? Did he love Eliza more than me? Why? What is that? What is that? Which I don't have and she does. That makes her impossible to leave. In summary, he loves her, but he loves me. He doesn't understand how. Both of us bring something he doesn't want to miss. He is not sure if he wants a life with Eliza like the one we have, a marriage, a family, but she is his soulmate. They divorced because between them there was so much fire that they were burning each other. With me, he has calm, peace, and a loving place to come back to. He has never cheated, but admits he sometimes fantasizes about her being me and me being her. They often talk about them having this life, but agree that being together would break their bond. All messed up, my God. I know it was kind of obvious to you all in my first post and should have been obvious to me, but hearing my husband say he loves another woman who is his soulmate and whom he put at the center of our life, making her an auntie to our daughter and some kind of sister-in-law to me, a supposed family friend, broke me. I'm not going to lie. I threw myself on the floor and hugged his legs, asking him what I needed to do for him to love me, to only love me. I felt so pathetic, but I believed everything was worth saving something with so much value as my marriage. I cried and cried and cried, and the hardest part was hearing that there was nothing I could do. This is all. I know it isn't some shocking news, but to me, my life is falling apart. The only things holding me up are two little hands that hug me every night and the small bean in my belly. We haven't discussed anything legal yet. He left the house and my sister and mom are staying with us for now. User OK Willow said, he's a selfish, cruel man and she is just as horrible. He used you while keeping her around and she played along with it. He says he sees her as a sister, but then he also says he fantasizes about her being you and you being her. Both cannot be true at the same time. She is either a sister to him or he wants her to be his wife. All he does is lie. He was living his best life and got everything he wanted. He has cheated. Maybe not physically, but emotionally he has. You deserve to find someone who truly loves you and chooses you every single time, not someone who has another option. You were their little doll to play with. You gave him all of these wonderful things so she didn't have to, but she gets the perks of being your husband's girlfriend without ever having to get pregnant or do any hard work in a marriage. I'm so sorry. User Adventurous Travel said, the reason he is having such a hard time is that he never put distance between them and was never forced to move on. In order to let go and heal, you have to stop being around them. I think when he's not around you, he will realize that he made a mistake. You need to ensure you don't get dragged back into this triangle and allow him to keep both of you by using the kids and acting like one family again. Keep everything separate for a long time until you can distinguish between being a good co-parent and being a support person for his feelings. This next post was made in the AITAH subreddit by a user named Purple Sunshine. The post is titled AITAH for refusing to meet my biological mom after I signed up for a DNA testing site. I'm a 24-year-old male who was adopted when I was 6 years old. I've always felt incredibly lucky because my adoptive parents, who were in their late 20s when they took me in, have been nothing short of amazing. They've loved and supported me as if I were their own flesh and blood, and I've never felt like anything was missing in my life because of being adopted. Growing up, I had very minimal details about my adoption. I know that I was removed from my biological family by social services due to neglect and abuse, but I don't remember anything about my life before I was adopted. It's not something I've dwelled on much because I've never felt like I needed those missing pieces to feel complete or valued. Recently, out of simple curiosity, I decided to sign up for one of those at-home DNA testing kits. I wasn't looking for a reunion or any deep connection, I just wanted to know more about my genetic history, like why I was removed from my biological family, and if there were any medical issues I should be aware of. Honestly, I didn't expect to find anyone closely related to me, so it felt like a low-stakes way to get some answers. About 8 weeks after sending off the kit, I finally remembered to check the results, and to my surprise, I matched with my biological mother, BM for short. She had sent me a message saying she was overjoyed that I had done the test and that she desperately wanted to reconnect with me and the rest of my biological family. She mentioned that she's thought of me every day, that I was always loved, and even that I have a biological little brother who is very excited to meet me, something I didn't even know. Her message was really emotional and, to be honest, overwhelming. To me, she's a complete stranger, and reading those words didn't stir anything in me other than discomfort. I spent a lot of time crafting a thoughtful response to BM, explaining that while I appreciated her message, I wasn't interested in forming a relationship with her or any of my biological family. I made it clear that my reason for doing the DNA test was purely informational. I wanted to understand my past, maybe get some medical history, and learn why I was removed, but that was it. I apologized if my actions gave her the wrong impression. BM read my message and replied, saying that she'd be willing to give me all the information I wanted, but only if I agreed to meet her at a cafe to discuss our relationship further. I refused, telling her that I wasn't comfortable with a face-to-face meeting. I offered a phone call as a compromise, but emphasized that I just wanted the information and then for both of us to move on with our lives. She outright refused to provide any information unless I agreed to meet with her in person and discuss our relationship. I talked to my best friend about this, and she sided with BM, saying that I was being unfair. She argued that by signing up for the DNA site, I had essentially opened the door to this kind of situation, and that refusing to meet with BM now is like playing mind games and leading them on. So am I the asshole for not wanting a relationship with my biological mother after I signed up for the DNA testing site? User Big Rotten Tuna said NTA. You don't owe her anything, and her refusal to give you the information unless you agree to meet with her speaks to her selfish character. If she truly cared about you, she would provide the information without strings attached. This is the woman who lost you because of abuse and neglect, and it seems she has not changed. Be grateful that you were taken from her and placed in a good home with loving people. User OK Regular said NTA. My biological mother gave me and my siblings up to CPS when I was around 4 years old, so I had no relationship with her growing up. She wanted to come back into our lives when I was 15, but I chose to cut off contact with her in my adult life, which upset her. I had no obligation to comfort her or build a relationship with her when her own actions were the reason there was no relationship to begin with. The blood of the brethren is thicker than the water of the womb. Your chosen family, the people you allow into your life, is what truly matters. Being biologically related does not grant someone the right to be in your life.